Boom, there we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Combat Insiders Live, episode 15, 16, something like that. Thank you for joining us. We thank you so much. We got a big show coming up. We have Damon Feldman. We expect in any minute. We got Harris Stephenson and Kaleb Harris are both on the BKFC card just in a couple days. And then we have Josh Cologne from the MTV Real World. He's going to be on the Celebrity Boxing card coming up. Celebrity Boxing 69 coming up September 7th in Atlantic City at the Showboat Hotel versus Hide Your Wife, Hide Your Kids, Antoine Dotson. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. Like I said, BKFC 7 card is just coming up just in a couple days. It's going to be free to stream on YouTube and Fight TV. So that'll be pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited about that. You know what, and I'm kind of wondering, not wondering, what's the word I'm looking for? I was really surprised that it was a free card because I mean it's definitely pay-per-view worthy. With Garcia and Jim Allers at the top of the card. Then you got the Vanilla Gorilla versus Mr. Arnold Adams as the co-main, and then just Fiera and Peralta. I mean, those three fights alone. I mean, just the rest of the card is good too, but just those three fights alone is pay per view worthy. So pretty excited about that. And again, we got the celebrity boxing card coming up in September. We got a lot of stuff coming up ourselves.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little
We
bit.
got stuff that we're going to start to reveal little by little, almost like a puzzle. And then at the end, you're going to kind of put everything together and be like, oh, so that's what they were talking about. But real quick, just want to give a huge Combat Insider shout out to StreamYard, one of our sponsors. They powered the stream. Go to StreamYard.com. They will set you up with all the tools you need to succeed to do your stream. So whether, and I say it all the time, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're stream games or shows like this or whatever. It doesn't matter. They make it easier. They make everything just so functional, and you'll have a good time with it too. It's actually kind of fun to use to mess around with the different tools and everything like that. So, give StreamYard.com and click on the link underneath this video to go to it. We've got a nice little referral ID, and it'll give us just a little bit of credit. That way, they know that we sent you. So, we would appreciate that. And Nick, I tell you, man, what are your thoughts? Just brief thoughts on the card this weekend.
My thoughts are you changed the intro music and I'm still jamming to it in my head. That's my thoughts. You did a little switcheroo there, and I'm still just like letting them talk. It was good.
All right.
What, the BKFC card?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am surprised it's a free card, but it's the give back program. You know what I mean? It works.
Yeah.
You do a bunch of stuff, you give back a little. I try to break down fights and try to pick winners, especially with the top three that you named. And it's not that I can't, like I almost don't want to, because no matter who you pick, you could be wrong. Like there's nothing that says, like, sometimes you're like, this is going to be a runaway fight. That's going to be a runaway fight. None of that. None of that's going on here. But I'm watching it. We're going to watch it.
Well, I tell you what too. It's funny you say that, right? Because of, obviously, this is a lot different than MMA, right? It's different than regular boxing. With bare knuckle, it is harder to predict than, say, just a regular MMA fight, because of the fact that it's bare knuckle and then anybody can get dropped at any given minute, because it doesn't take much,
Right.
because it's the bare bone the face, right? So it's a lot. It's just different, right? And the tides can change so fast. We've seen upsets where someone just, the unexpected, someone gets dropped unexpectedly and it's over, and you were rooting for the other guy, or you thought the other guy had it in his back pocket.
Yeah.
So it's just so much different. That's any bare knuckle, man. I mean,
and the caliber. I think the are just good fights. It's not even like, oh, that guy got lucky. None of them are clear.
Yeah.
Like there's no clear. I don't know. I like them all. I think I'm most interested in Peralta Fiera, just because we've gotten the chance to talk to. Well, we've talked to everybody, but that one, I feel like, just based on training and how their mentality is, they are so similar. And like kill or be killed. Like I don't know. I'm just gonna watch.
It's funny you say that, because like I said, they both have the similar mentality. I remember when we interviewed Helen Peralta, she was just like, I just like putting bitches to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's what she's like. Yeah. She said, she got the idea that she really wanted to do it fighting when she watched the Holly Holm Ronda Rousey fight. And she was like, what? I can get paid to put bitches to sleep. Sign me up.
There you go. So I don't know. Allers Garcia. That's. I mean, we've seen both of their handiwork live.
Yeah,
we've been there, so that's a good one. Adams Chase Sherman, also a good fight. I'm hoping, not picking sides, but I'm hoping Sam Shoemaker gets the winner. I feel like it's time. I feel like he's done his part, but who knows? Who knows? I just want
Interesting.
to watch. I just want to watch. I want a
Hmm.
fanboy watch. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I'm pumped too, man, because there's a lot of stuff on the horizon because we enjoy the sport so much, and there's several other promotions popping up.
Yeah.
Um, there's Ken Shamrock's Valor popping up. Pumped about that. That's going to be really exciting to see how they progress and see how they turn out. Because I say, if they're successful, the sport's successful. You know what I mean? When
Correct. Yes.
if it's kind of like while they are their own separate promotions and they all want to be more successful than the other, obviously
Right.
there's still the overarching umbrella, of the sport of bare knuckle and really, I guess you could say, combat sports in general. The more they are successful, the more the sport will grow, the more
Right.
that, you know what I mean? Because you may get fans that, maybe there's fans that just watch BKFC for the way they do their shows. You may get fans that just want to watch I don't know, BKB over in the UK, or then you got people might want to watch Valor. Once that gets kicking, and any of the other ones coming up, and then you want those people will start kind of crossing over promotion and crossing over shows, and the eyeballs grow for everybody. So I really just can't
It's
see it being a bad thing.
it's good in this stage too, because
Yeah.
June 2018 is the official start date here in the United States,
Yep.
and we're only 14 months out. And you went from BKFC to BKFC and the WBKFF, which is non-existent. Then you got BYB out there with Dada 5000, and
Yep.
then you have, like you said, Valor with Kent Shamrock and BKF with Shannon Rich. They're the unfortunate part is the guys who are out there now, they got time in the game. They
Yeah.
understand the sport. They were fighters or whatever the case may be. Obviously, you'll probably have a couple pop up and they disappear. You never see them again. But that happens with anything. It's good for the sport. All of it's good for the sport. I mean, you could like one promotion over the other promotion. Doesn't matter. You like the sport.
Uh, That's a good point. What do you think happens, man? Like, do you think, in a year or 2 years or whatever, you think there's going to be a gazillion, like, you think it's going to get to the point to where you're going to have your smaller local, just local regional bare knuckle boxing shows, and then you have your big ones like, your BKFCs and Valor and what have you?
I think so. The only issue, what?
Nothing. Good.
The only issue is there's no amateur in this sport, so that might cut the flow down a little bit. I don't know if they would sanction amateur bare knuckle boxing. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like I feel it'll help other sports because guys got to get. You have to have, like, I know BKFC has a criteria.
Yeah.
You have to have 3 pro fights. Can't be coming off a knockout loss. So these guys that go pro and at Lion Fight or K1 or Glory or UFC or anywhere, as long as they're pro fights, they need to have those fights before they can get on a BKFC or any bare knuckle card. See how
And
it's good for everybody.
yeah,
It's good for everybody.
it's definitely good for everybody. Speaking of good for everybody, did you catch the? It has nothing to do with that statement. Did you catch the Covington Robbie Lawler fight?
I was at work, but I got to see dominating highlights.
Yeah.
The highlight reel says dominant.
It's interesting. I saw a lot of people talk about how surprised they were that he was able to do that to Robbie Lawler, and then I think me and you already talked about this
Oh
privately,
yeah,
but like my mind is blown because I'm thinking to myself, you guys saw what he did to RDA. You saw what he did to Damian Maya. You're
right.
telling me you're surprised that he could out grapple Robbie Lawler? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, the part that maybe if you want to be surprised by anything, is the fact that he outstriked Robbie Lawler.
Right.
Now, they weren't bombs, they weren't powerful punches, they weren't anything that was going to put you to sleep. But he's
Volume.
volume. He can still say he outstruck Robbie Lawler.
It's kind of wild too. I think, like, I kind of like what he brings to the table, although it could be annoying and some people don't like it.
Yeah,
He's the ultimate troll. You know what I mean? It's great. He goes out. Remember when he was standing on the highway with a sign looking for like a fight? Like, he goes to extreme measures to make things happen.
Yeah.
and you don't have to like him, but you have to respect what he's done. And I don't think you can call him a flash in the pan or a fly by night or anything like that, because some people are like, oh, he got lucky. Well, he's lucky a lot then. If he's lucky a lot.
I, you know, when people say that, they don't even realize they are inadvertently shitting on your Robbie Lawlers or your RDAs because it's like, oh yeah, that guy, he's lucky, blah blah blah. Well, what does that make Robbie Lawler? Just a slab of meat? Like, is he shit? Like, what does that make RDA?
No.
If Colby is that bad as people say he is, oh, he shouldn't be fighting for the championship, but yet he's destroying guys like, you know, former
Right.
champions like Robbie Lawler, RDA. Like, what are these guys then? Are they just punching bags? Like, what? I don't understand the.
I think you got to get past what he does outside of fighting and try to focus on the actual fight
Yeah,
part. You know what I mean? But what he's doing, it's shaking things up. Like, so he won and he's an interim champion. So the obvious thing is for the interim champion and the champion to fight. Let's unify it. Let's get it, because, interim belts they're okay, I guess, if they're necessary, but there's a lot
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
But then you have other guys out there like Masvidal, who needs a title shot.
Mm.
He's been in the game forever. I don't think he's never had a title shot. I think he's due. So I don't even know how you play that whole division out at this point. Like, there's a history of the right fight that you're supposed to make doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had put something about it, and a lot of people chimed in, and they were saying have Usman Covington, and then the winner of that fights the winner of Leon Edwards, Jorge Masvidal. But I think Edwards, this is no knock on him. Like, he's doing his thing. He's winning fights. He's on the come up. But I think from where Masvidal sits, that's like a step down fight. And I'm not knocking him, but Masvidal's had time to accumulate more.
You know
So
what?
I don't I
I,
don't
I
know.
and I'm gonna look this up before I say it, but I'm almost certain. Okay, so in Masvidal's last, four fights, he's 2-2, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, he beats Darren Till, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this isn't a knock on Masvidal. I knew who he was, but you see it like the stuff in some of the Facebook groups we're a part of, right? Nobody was talking about Masvidal until he knocked out Darren Till. I mean, some of the people were like, some of the people knew who he was,
Right.
but you didn't see like post after post about, oh, Masvidal should have a title shot now and blah blah blah. Nobody was posting anything. He knocks
Right.
out Darren Till, and all of a sudden it's like he's this. Oh yeah, Masvidal deserves a title shot, and then of course the fastest KO in history against Ben Askren, and then,
Right.
oh my God, this guy's the next. He's the next biggest thing. Now, I've always thought Masvidal was good. I've always thought he was
Yeah.
good, but like his I mean, I'm looking now. I mean, his record is definitely not bad by any means, but if you want to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he's 6-4 in his last 10 fights.
But he's got a total of, what is he? He's got over 40
He's
fights,
he's
right?
he's 34-13. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad record per se. I'm not saying that.
You know what
Uh,
I think it is? I think it's when you go a long stretch
yeah.
and don't get a title shot, with the exception of Floyd Mayweather, you're going to take an L somewhere. Do you know
Oh,
what I mean?
sure. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
at that average, if you averaged out his fights, it I guess it averages out to a loss every 3 fights. But he fights anyone.
Something like
Like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, there's no padding. There's no, he just fights everybody. I think he's done enough in his career that he should warrant his shot.
I think it'll be interesting. I know a lot of people were wanting him to have that title shot for his next fight. Like, people were putting him in the conversation before Colby. And I guess maybe that's the part that just kind of confuses me and maybe blows my mind a little bit.
That's
I'm like,
hard because Colby's an interim champion. He no matter how he got the belt and what happened after it, the fact remains that he still has that belt. So by every standard there is, he's next in line or should
Yeah.
be next in line.
Should be, I guess.
Should be.
Should
Should
be
be.
next in line, which he is now. See, World Combat Sports. Well, shout out to World Combat Sports. We appreciate you, man. This guy puts out some great content, so go check out his YouTube channel out. Very good stuff. I was actually watching a
That's
lot
a
of his
perfect
stuff
comment too.
the other day. Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, very experienced veteran, highs and lows recently. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not knocking him. Like, I'm not knocking him as a fighter, nothing like that. I guess I'm just knocking the perception that, and I hate using this word, but I'm going to use it. I really
Go
hate it.
for it.
Is the casual word, and I hate saying it. I really do. I hate calling people casuals. I don't like it. But I think that I think that you know he Jorge is an awesome fighter, right? And he's had his highs, he's had his lows, he's been up and down, and he's got some notable wins in his career. But I just don't see how all of a sudden, he gets the KO on Darren Till, and he gets the KO on Ben Askren. Which, by the way, here's another thing that doesn't make sense to me. Everybody's been talking about how bad Ben Askren was, and how he's just this again. People don't understand when they crap on people, and then when somebody they like beats the person they've been crapping on, it works my brain because I'm like, wait a minute, how is your guy that good? Because you've been talking about for months how shitty his opponent was. So he
Right.
just beat somebody shitty in your opinion. But now all of a sudden he deserves a title shot because he beat Ben Askren, who, according to a lot of people, his record was BS, right? His whatever he was, 20
I don't know, man,
whatever the
17
hell.
and 0.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he did take on the top talent
Of
for one
course he did.
championship.
Of
He
course
took
he
on
did.
everybody there was. I mean, the problem with that is when you come from another organization, and it's the same thing. Justin Gaethje had the same thing.
Yeah.
You're good until you finally come to the UFC and you lose. Then all of a sudden, everything you did before doesn't count.
Yeah. And like I said, I get that totally completely. It's just so strange. The MMA audience as a whole, and I guess I'll use just the general MMA audience fans, maybe not so much the hardcores, but the people who comment every 5 seconds in the Facebook groups. I guess I'm kind of maybe aiming at those people. They really like to turn tides, and they will turn on somebody in a dime. All you got to do is knock out somebody, and next thing you know, oh well, that guy's ready for a title shot now, and it's just I don't know.
My guy's fighting this weekend. I won't turn on him.
Um,
Isn't this weekend?
Next weekend,
No, next weekend. Next weekend. I'm ready. I'm
Pettis and
ready.
Diaz, yeah,
I'm ready
Pettis and
for it.
Diaz. That's an interesting fight, man. You got two veterans of the sport. You got two guys who are really gritty. Two guys who are
Durable.
very durable and very ready for that war. They're both ready for war. Um, I don't know, man. I know we talked about this, and my pick was kind of Pettis, but I don't know. That's tough, man. That's a tough damn fight. It really is.
I would like to say Nate by sub, like round 2-ish, but odds are, if I had like money on the line, I would say somebody's gonna just have to win a knockdown war. That's just what it's going to end up being.
Mm.
I just don't see. I mean, Nate's never been knocked out, and I don't know. I can't remember the last time Pettis was, if he ever was. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. That's all that matters.
It is going to be good, but I'm just what? It's been 3 years now, right? It's been 3 years. He hasn't fought since the Connor fight. I don't know, man. Anthony Pettis isn't an easy task. I mean, out of nowhere, this dude fucking Superman punches Thompson and knocks him out. He's never been knocked out or knocked down, I believe, in his entire career. And then here comes Anthony Pettis, Superman punch. Boom. He's fucking
And
out.
then he just put on quite a show with Ferguson not that long ago.
He sure did.
He got to flex his durability. I mean, if you break something, you break something. It is what it is. So I kind of wanted to see that fight again. I want to know what about this fight, because I know they have a genuine dislike for each other.
Yeah.
What out of this fight brought Nate back out?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Or combat sports. I don't know if the inactivity from Nate. I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the same. I kind of agree with Dominic Cruz's theology on that, where like ring rust is more mental than it is physical. Especially somebody like Nate. I've always seen Nate say he's pretty much stayed in shape. He's always training, so it's not like he's just taken 3 years off and he's out eating fucking hot dogs and drinking beer. You know
No,
what I mean?
no. He
It's not
stays
like,
consistent.
yeah, like he stays, at least he's staying in the gym, doing their, I don't know, they do like fucking triathlons or whatever the Diaz brothers do. They do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I think he's stayed in shape. Now, whether or not he's actively, sparring and like training that way, I know he stays in shape probably cardio wise. I don't know.
I think he does, because there's guys that fight on his fight team, and I mean, I've been to
Yeah,
events where people on his and he shows up, like he supports his team,
yeah,
he corners them. So I'm willing to bet that he might not be, maybe not the hard sparring. You know what I mean? Like right
yeah,
before fight camp sparring, but I don't think ring rust will be a thing. I mean, his game plan is pretty straightforward every time. It'll be
yeah.
it'll be interesting. I don't know. I can't call that one. I know what I want to say, but that's because of fan status. That's not thinking clearly and looking at it.
I don't know, man. If fuck, and then you got Cormier and Stipe again. A lot of people are saying that it's not going to be the same way again. It was a fluke. They're saying the way Cormier knocked out Stipe the first time, it was a fluke. When go for the clinch, he dropped his hands, uppercut, knockout. Hmm.
I like Cormier too, but I think this fight goes the other way.
You think Stipe wins the rematch?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's going to be probably not in the same fashion. I think we're going to see DC just wrestle him, grind him up against the cage, wear him down, ground and pound. I, that's what I think.
I don't think he can outstrike Stipe.
You don't
I
think
get it.
so?
No, no. If it goes to the ground, you're kind of hard pressed to pick anybody over DC. With his wrestling is next level, but I
Sure.
think Stipe is, for just pure striking. I think it's Stipe.
Hmm.
I think it's going to be just like you said. It's going to be the striker versus grappler classic. But who knows? Who knows? These guys get in there with a plan and they do the total opposite once they get in there,
Oh
because you
wow.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they adjust on the fly. They do things like that. So lots of good fights.
Well, in the first fight, I mean, DC kind of did that because, a matter of fact, I just rewatched it today or yesterday, and it's interesting because he chose to pretty much stand up with Stipe up until the moments of him, the whole clinch thing and the knocking out. Like he chose to pretty much stay standing up with him. I mean, he clinched with him a couple times, but there was no takedowns, no takedown attempts. It was just
I
should be a oh yeah, for sure. Um, all right, he's saying it should
Come
be
on.
unanimous decision to DC. Yeah, I mean, if DC plays his wrestling game like we know he can, that's probably a likely scenario. Now, now, if he plays with that fire, like you're saying, Stipe probably does have the better boxing, like technique for technique, and maybe the heavier hands. I guess you could argue that. I don't, we don't really know for sure, but you can probably argue that Stipe probably has the better hand for hand boxing. If DC wants to play that game again and try to, implement his plan, I don't know, man. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
the plan was good. He caught him coming out of the clinch. The plan was great. I just don't see it happening again.
No, I think Steve. But then again, right? Maybe that's one of those weird habits that you can't break. I mean, look at Look at the way Jones knocked out
Yeah.
DC, right?
Left head kick, and he told him about it beforehand.
He told him about it like a year beforehand.
Yeah.
Like they were in that press conference. He told him, he's like, "Oh, you're talking about me ducking me ducking down to the left, whatever." And he starts laughing. So DC knew about this flaw that he has, and he probably tried to correct it. And I'm sure it's something in training that he worked on, but alas, nothing. He still did it, still got KO'd, and the rest is
I
has
think
been
that to
history.
make the first fight not a fluke, he, I get it. He's got to wrestle because he's a phenomenal wrestler. But I feel like maybe to make sure, like, hey, this isn't a fluke. Maybe he feels like he has to stand with him a little
Yeah,
bit. Maybe he has to stand in the pocket and clinch and stuff, and just throw hands for a round or two. I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I'd be more worried about winning, but it's a big deal. Like if you fight and somebody says your fight's a fluke, what do you
yeah,
want to do? You want to prove them wrong immediately.
yes. But then that just kind of open you up. I don't want to say if that's going to be your sole focus. Like you're worried more about that fluke, more worried about that one flaw. Uh, then next thing you know, maybe your whole game plan goes out the window. Maybe like what you actually do well, that's taking you to the dance. Maybe maybe you mess that all up. Let's see, guys. Give us 1 second. We're gonna take a quick 30-second break, and we will be right back. Let me find my panel here. Give me 30 seconds.
Brad Bishop with Anstill Nutrition. And shout out to the Combat Insiders for allowing us the opportunity to introduce ourselves. We're a supplement company geared towards combat sports. We're designed with the fight in mind, so don't cut weight without us.
Hey,
Boom.
welcome back.
That 30 seconds goes fast, doesn't it? There he is. All right, guys. Real quick, we're bringing in Harris Stephenson, the Sandman, the Clark
Oh boy.
Kent of bare knuckle, as he calls it. Tell you what, we're gonna get him ready and bring him in. I know, don't hate me. We're gonna take another quick little 30 second. We got to get him in here, and we will be right back. Don't hate me for doing this again. We'll be right back. There he is, Mr. Harris
There.
Stevenson. What's going
What's
on,
going on,
man?
guys?
What's
Oh
up, man?
man, just trying to get these last few pounds off, and so I can eat.
How's it going? I saw you running earlier.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've done 2 workouts today so far. About to do my third. Got to throw the sauna suit on, some Aveline. Cut a little weight tonight, and then tomorrow should only have a few pounds cut in the sauna for weigh-in. So, but it's going good. Camp's going real well. So no injuries. I got my cardio better than ever. So I know
I'm
that
thinking
this.
your poster behind you. Actually, it's a good
Hey, yeah,
background.
that's
That's a
There
good
you go.
background
yes,
right
sir.
there.
There we go.
What's the preferred post cut food? What's the preferred post cut meal?
Oh man, I had a ritual, man. I'm not healthy about it. I'm not technical. I used to go to Sicily's and smash the buffet, and then
Ooh.
I let that settle a few hours later, and I'd go smash Mugshots, which is a big burger joint down here, and they got the best burgers in town. So I did that for the longest, and then actually before one of my BKFC fights, I ended up doing it. I got sick, so I stopped the ritual, and I just now just do the mug shots. So
That
Wow.
sounds like I want to eat there. We don't have that here.
no if y'all come down here, man, y'all have to stop by Mug Shots. They're #1 in the state for like the last 7 years for burgers, and I'm a burger guy, so
We got McDonald's. Does that count? That's not a real burger. That
hey,
doesn't count.
Right.
Well, that's all right. Well, look, man, tell us, you got a big fight coming up in just a couple of days. Like you said, you're cutting the weight. Man, what a huge show. You got, of course, Jim Ellers versus Leonard Garcia. You got the co-main with Arnold Adams versus the Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman. Man, talk about your fight. You're fighting Josh Boudreaux. Talk about that. What can we expect from you this weekend?
I'm actually fighting Corey Jones.
Oh, so my information is not correct. All right.
No, so I think
My
Josh Boudreaux's
apologies.
fighting no, you're fine. I think Josh Boudreaux's fighting Adam Pallarano, who they're both
Okay.
two coast guys.
Okay.
But I'm by the name of Corey Jones. He's actually out of the same camp as Marcel Stamps. So you know he's gonna come
Okay.
from a good camp.
Oh.
He's a real big guy. Makes me look tiny. I'm gonna have height on him, but he's definitely gonna have a lot of size on me. So I just gotta work my angles, stay moving, and not get hit by one of them big old shots he's gonna throw.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oof. Can we expect the smile on your face through all these rounds like every other fight? It's so weird. I know every time I talk to you, I ask you. It's just the weirdest thing. Like, we'll punch each other in the face with no gloves, and then we're going to smile at each other because we're having a good time doing it.
Always, man. I'm living my dream right now, so I don't care how much it hurts. So
I find it odd when you say somebody's big because you're a big guy. You're tall. You're by no means skinny. So for you to say this is a big guy, when we talked, you said I got a big guy this round. That's a good thing, though. Build that profile.
yes, sir. He's how monstrous thick, and he's actually, I think he was a bodybuilder. He's a power lifter. He's got like videos of deadlifting like 600 pounds, just doing ridiculous workouts, jumping on boxes like 5 foot high. Like he's just athletic all the way around. So he's gonna be tough. Not me.
That's wild.
I feel like every fight obviously is tough, but
Yep.
everybody's seen you perform before. I really believe there's no fight out there that you can't deal with. Plus, you have a little bit, I'm not saying overall experience. Let's just stick to the sport itself. You have, I think that plays you have fights in bare knuckle. I think it plays
Right.
a big part. The first time you get touched, it's just different. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, getting hit with bare knuckles on a completely different ball game because you don't know. I've never been in a fist fight myself before bare knuckle. All my fights have all been in the ring. I've always been the nerdy, quiet guy, and then just one day decided, hey, I was going to fight. There's never been a street fight in my life, so it was awkward for me the first time I did it. But doing bare knuckle, getting actually hit with a knuckle was very, very strange. You know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to anticipate. My first fight, it was 26 seconds. I didn't really get to feel much. But obviously, my second fight with Elvin Brito, we went to the 5th round, and that was an absolute war. And I'm gonna tell you, comparing bare knuckle to MMA gloves, it's much more painful. Maybe not during because of the adrenaline, but after the fact, yeah, I felt it a lot worse. But it's actually the punching that everybody bare knuckle because I've hurt my hands a little bit here and there. I haven't broke anything, just aggravation because you're not used to that blunt force against your knuckles against somebody's forehead or what have you. So you really do have to pick your shots.
Yeah.
That seems to be what everybody says. You have to, like, you can't throw a wild, hard shot because if your wrist isn't straight, you don't hit with the right knuckles. A lot can go wrong, and you could be winning a fight and throw one wild punch. And I think it happened to, who did it happen to? Charles Bennett punched a guy on the hip, and that's it.
Yeah.
Your hands are gone. So is
Right,
that like a focus? I know you fight MMA as well. Is that like a focus? You have to like mentally try to switch gears. Like I cannot just heave punches out there and it doesn't matter what I hit.
Right. Yeah. And I actually, my last fight was MMA. So that was actually hard for me to go back to that because I fought 3 times for bare knuckle back to back to back without fighting
Right.
MMA in between. So that was actually hard for me to switch from just throwing hands. But for this camp, I actually switched it up a little bit more and actually went just to a strictly boxing camp. And I went to a strictly boxing school, trained with pro boxers, got my butt kicked a lot and learned a lot. So I think I'm gonna show a lot of improvements, and I think y'all gonna like what you see. I hope.
You're like a fan favorite, dude. It doesn't matter what you do. Everybody likes you. I feel like you're just like a nice You know what I mean? Everybody, that's what we see when you put posts. People like your posts more than my posts, and I don't like that.
Well, man, you
Well,
need to
dude,
tell those
I'm
YouTube
telling you,
critics.
man, the whole Clark Kent of bare knuckle, man. I'm telling you, that is
Uh,
that's a whole entire gimmick in itself. I mean, like the t-shirts should be flying off the shelf.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah,
The last one,
I love that,
flew
man.
off. The last ones flew off the shelf real well, and then actually the new ones I just got them in. I think it was yesterday, and
Yeah.
they're actually police themed, and they're flying off the shelves even quicker.
They
So
were nice, the
it's
blue with the black print. I saw it on
Yeah.
your
yeah,
Facebook.
yes
I saw
sir.
it too. So, what do you think, man? I guess let's go into. We don't have to give predictions, but what do you think about the Jim Ellers Garcia fight?
I think that's gonna be an absolute war. Both guys like to kind of stand in the pocket and trade. Um, I know Jim Allers is more of a Southern guy. I haven't really watched him. I know he's a UFC vet,
Yeah.
but I know Garcia from back in the day. Like I said, I used to watch him when he fought Roger Huerta. Was one of my favorite fights from years and years ago in the UFC. And I think even in Garcia's fight um, when he fought in Mexico, I think
Yeah.
he showed that he can take a shot and still be dangerous. So I don't know if Jim Allers brings that same potential to the table, but I know both guys are going to stand there and throw, and pretty much whoever gets caught first is who's going down.
You think that maybe it plays to a disadvantage, or it's kind of like business as usual because Garcia was scheduled to face Jason Knight. Of course, everybody knows he had the rib injury, had to pull out, and Jim Ellers. It's an entirely different fight now. Whereas Jason Knight is more the volume puncher, like you said, similar in the sense of he presses forward. They both are a pressing forward style fighter, but Jim Ellers is a lot more about picking his shots, right? Going for more, dropping the bombs. Whereas Jason Knight is just volume, 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 volume,
Right.
not letting you breathe, right? So, like, does something like that, you think it affects a veteran like Leonard Garcia, like, change up last minute? Or is it, you think it's just, man, it is what it is, just bring him on?
I think for somebody like Leonard, man, I think it's just business as usual. I think he might tweak a
Yeah.
little of his game plan, but I think Leonard's game plan is ultimately the same in every fight he's ever been in, and that's just go in and trade and try to catch somebody while in the pocket because he'll stay in the pocket a lot of times. He'll play the outside game a little bit, but then if he can get to the inside and get you playing his game, he's on win 90% of the time.
Yeah, we were talking about it before you came on, and we can't pick. There's no way to pick. You can't pick. There's no way to
No,
pick 90% of the fights on the card.
right, absolutely. I mean, they're just evenly matched all the way around, and that's what makes them so exciting. And like I said, I'm surprised as heck they're doing the card for free, but hey,
You
it's a
just said
blessing.
Josh just said that.
We
Like
yeah, we were just talking about that. I said, it blew my mind, because the card is stacked, man. I'm like the idea that this card is for free to me, it's crazy, but hey, I'm glad. I'm thankful for it because it's free. Now I don't have to pay. I would have paid it, but I'm glad it's free. I'm glad that it'll expose the world to you guys. I'm hoping that more guys will tune in, more people will tune in, maybe that have never seen bare knuckle before. Maybe this is their
Right.
first time. Maybe you guys are going to be like their first introduction into that world, into the world of bare knuckle boxing. And it's like, man, I mean, just a whole new audience, man. I really hope it turns out good for you guys, man. I mean, for the company and, for you guys, for the fighters, man. I hope that just equals more eyeballs on you guys.
Yes, sir. And I think it absolutely will, because I think they're doing it at a good time. Because I mean, like the BKFC 6 show, they did the numbers and showed that they outdid the UFC numbers that night. So I think that's showing how popular sports already gone, and they're putting videos online now from older fights. Like my fight with Elvin Brito just hit YouTube.
Yep.
I checked it the other day, and it was already over 250,000 views.
Jesus.
So, and that's been on the net for 3 days, 4 days, and it's already over 250,000. But
Wow.
I think it's just a good gesture because this all launched in June. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew that we'd be sitting here talking to you on the 7th card now. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good play just to like, hey, Just literally just a thank you. Could they have made it pay-per-view? Absolutely. Would it have made sales? No question about it. But it's kind of cool when you give back to the people, that make it possible.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
you, for
absolutely.
them, for us, it's the fans.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
think
I
what
think
we're
it's
going to
going to.
see is no, go ahead, Harris.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's gonna, if they can pull the numbers of how many viewers they have, I think it's just going to be astronomical because everybody I've talked to who isn't able to make it, like the guys who work patrol that day, um,
Yeah.
getting off at 7 o'clock, they're going straight home and we're going to watch it on TV. So anybody ever I've talked to who can't make the show is watching it online. So anybody I know is watching it. So that's a lot of people in itself. So I can only imagine how far it's spread nationwide, worldwide.
It's going to be something.
100%. I'm curious because I think as we've done the research and we've done research, we've done polls, we've done our own checking the records. MMA, the guys who cross over from MMA versus the guys who cross over from traditional boxing are more successful. Now, whether that's has to do with I don't know whether that has to do with maybe the distance because the distance is a little more similar to like the MMA range versus like traditional boxing glove range. But what do you feel, man? From somebody who does both, what do you think is going to be the driving factor to drive more of these, more notable or more MMA stars to bare knuckle?
I think mainly it's gonna come down to bare knuckle establishing its brand, which is doing it. It's called like wildfire. I
Yeah.
think once it proves it's here to stay, because a lot of people, there's a lot of haters that think that it's not going to stick around because people are going to break their hands too quick
Yeah.
or what have you. But I mean, that's proven 7 shows. They've had what, like 2 broken hands or something. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's proven that it's not going to happen. I've been in 3 bare knuckle shows, and I haven't broken my hand not once, and one of which was a 5-rounder, one of which made it to the 5th round.
Zero
So,
concussions. Zero
right,
concussions.
absolutely, and I got knocked smooth out
Yeah.
in my second bare knuckle fight, and I didn't suffer concussion. It was actually a brachial plexus shot that did me in. So I mean, when I came to, I remembered everything that happened. I just my equilibrium was still a little bit off. I didn't have the concussed shot that I've had previously being knocked out in MMA or what.
Yeah. Plus, the research is there that it's, even though it sounds crazy, it is safer overall. I mean, there's tons and tons of research and studies that were done. I guess you could reevaluate it when the sport's in their 5th year and 10th year. But so far,
Right.
it's all good.
Yes, sir. Like I said, the only thing I've had in my 3 bare knuckle fights is I had 1 stitch, literally 1 stitch in my cheek, and that was it. Everything else has all been superficial cuts, lacerations, stuff that's healed on its own. I mean, I've had the super glue cuts from MMA and stuff multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's been nice.
What are the MMA guys? Like in the gyms you train at, like just the straight MMA guys? Do they see you guys like the guys who do the bare knuckle too? They're like, man, you guys are fucking nuts doing that. Or they like, man, tell me about it. Like, I want to do it. Or like, what are the reactions in the gyms?
A lot of them are play the "you're nuts" card, just because they like the argument that you're going to get cut too much, build scar tissue, and break your hands is their biggest concerns, especially for the MMA side of things.
Yeah.
And try to explain to them. I mean, I've done it 3 times, haven't broke my hand, have superficial lacerations, but I don't really have any scar tissue built up in my face. I mean, nothing's really changed. So.
Scar tissue builds up in MMA too. There's guys that have soft spots that they bust open easy.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
We're on the bare knuckle train. It don't matter.
Yeah, that's it.
Mr. Harris Stephenson, I tell you what, man, I'm pumped every time you're on a card. It's exciting. All the cards are exciting, man. But I tell you what, we're a huge fan. We're just a huge fan of the sport in general, man. I mean, we really are. We're extremely passionate about it, and I just want to see it go further. The promotion, like I said, just the sport in general. I think like the more eyeballs and the fact that it's on YouTube, I still think it's crazy but it's great. I think it's great for the sport. It's great for the world of combat sports. And like I said, the more exposure you guys get is it's nothing but a good thing, man. But guys, check out Harris Stephenson. He's going to be on BKFC 7 this weekend, right? If you're in Biloxi, go catch it live. Otherwise, just go to YouTube.
If you miss it, you're wrong.
You're wrong. Why? Like it's a free card. Go to YouTube. Go to the Bare Knuckle BKFC official page. Check it out. You've got no reason not to.
That's it.
That's
There's
it.
nothing else to say. We're done.
We're done, Mr. Harris. We appreciate your time, man, especially so close to the fight. I know you're in the middle of cutting weight, so like I said, we very much appreciate your time. We know that time is extremely valuable, and we wish you the best of luck, sir, this weekend.
Guys, and I'm here anytime you need me, brother. And I appreciate the support, and can't wait to put on a show for y'all.
Absolutely, man. Well, have a good rest of your evening, Mr. Stephenson.
So y'all too.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, guys. We got Kaleb Harris waiting in the wings here, and we're going to bring him on. We're going to take a quick little 30-second break, and when we come back, we're going to have Kaleb Harris on the show. Be right back. There he is, Mr. Kaleb Harris. What's going on, brother? Well, we cannot hear you, my man. Check your mic. You on your phone? Check. It should be like a little mic button at the bottom.
Now it's off.
Now hit it again. I can see you. I can see you pretty good. Log out and just log out and come back in. We'll take a quick break. Just log out and come back in and we'll grab you. Log out and come back in. Boom. We're going to take another commercial. Guys, bear with us. Technical difficulties, they happen. Give us 30 seconds. We'll be right back. Let's try it again. Can we hear you?
Can y'all hear me now?
There we go. There we go. Loud and clear, my man. What's going on, sir?
Man, not much. I'm out here at my best friend's gym, Primal Martial Arts Academy. One of my sponsors just got done cutting weight and had to leave in the middle of his round so I could come log in.
Well, we appreciate your time, sir. How is the weight cut going, by the way?
As of a couple of minutes ago, I was sitting at 165, and so I'm right on weight. I'm gonna go home, take me some CBD gummies to kind of help me go to sleep, and wake up in the morning, get my cornrows done, and head down to Biloxi.
We were just talking to Harris Stephenson. We asked him what's your preferred post weight cut meal, man? Because I know some people, they're kind of superstitious about it. They eat something particular. What's your go-to?
Between it's the last couple of fights, it's been a hibachi place. I'll get like some rice, some hibachi rice, some miso soup, because I always cut out my salt, and that just tastes amazing right afterwards. And then a little bit of sushi, but mainly I don't stuff myself. I just eat a lot over the next 24 hours. I think I normally put on like 20 pounds back on after a fight. Or after weigh-ins. Wow. Which that's when I'm cutting to 55. So now I feel good stepping in the cage or ring at about 75. So,
Okay.
Man,
Wow.
that sounded like a good menu too. I'm not mad at you.
Hey man,
That
I love
sounded good.
hibachi. I mean, so you keep it. I mean, I guess hibachi is fairly still kind of healthy. I mean, rice and meat and veggies, right? I mean, do you just go
right.
what like cupcakes, ice cream, anything
No,
like that,
no,
or
no,
you
no,
know?
nothing like that.
Yeah.
There, only because one of my coaches may not actually say this. There may or may not have been a few fights where I went and got a honey bun that
Ooh.
night after weigh-ins, but for the most part, it's strictly water, Pedialyte, fresh fruit, and then I usually get a hibachi with like chicken or something. But no, I usually stick pretty healthy to till after the fight. And after the fight, it's game on for whatever I want.
So I have a question, man. We follow your social media. You're all about this sport, right? You had a fight. You were very eager to get back in and fight again, obviously. Why no gloves? I know it's like a repetitive question, and we've never had you on. This is the first time, so we'll ask you why. What makes it more appealing to you?
So that's kind of something I've had to ask myself. I was here listening to y'all talk to Harris, and oddly enough, it's kind of cool. Me and him were kind of the same way. That was my fight with him was my very first bare knuckle fight. I was the nerdy kid in school as well. I took martial arts, but I didn't get in fights. I walked away. I turned the other cheek probably more times than I should have. So I think as time grew on, the more savage the sport, the more I want to do it just to prove to myself that I belong in this sport and that to let the world know I'm not soft. Like that Leithway, where it's basically bare everything. It's headbutt.
Yeah.
Everybody else is looking at it like this is crazy, this is insane, and I'm over here in the corner kind of like I kind of want to go do that, but I don't really see how I'm going to convince any of my coaches to let me do that one.
Less ways something different, but yeah, now that makes it. We were actually, since you were watching it, we were commenting. There's that picture of your fight with Harris where you guys are all busting each other up, and you're both like waiting to strike, and you
Like
both got yeah, it's crazy. You just have the biggest smile on your face, and you wouldn't know if you cut the heads out. You wouldn't know you guys were fighting.
I never feel as happy as I do when I'm in the ring. Like, I don't care if I'm in a 3-round war or 5-round war like I was with Harris, or if I'm submitting somebody in the first round or not knocking them out. When I step in the cage, all stress, all worries go out the door. I'm in there, and I know that for that 10 minutes, however long it takes, I have one purpose, and I know I'm damn good at that purpose. And so I get to relax and let loose.
So it lets you cut out all the other normal life stresses for the time you're there. It's
Pretty
all
much.
sideline. That's a good way to look at it.
So I mean, speaking of all that, I mean, talk about you're facing man. I'm gonna make sure my information. You're facing Jonathan Vastante, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Okay. I want to make Jonathan, because that's how it looks to me. I could be wrong. I'm terrible with names, so Mr. Vastante, if you're watching, I apologize ahead of time if I'm
But
mispronouncing
he can't be mad. They misspelled my name on the card. They misspelled my name announcing it on interviews. I mean, I've had my name spelled so many different ways. I mean, they know
Yours is
who we
kind of
are
an
by our
easy.
face.
Yours is kind of an easy one though.
Yeah, yeah, and yet they still spelled it KHLIB. Like I actually had to call Mr. Feldman, and like he actually thought my name was Kaleb because that was how they spelled it to him. And I was like, no, that's not my name.
Yeah. I was gonna say I imagine some people might misspell it Caleb, because
I get that a lot. That's one of my few
Yeah.
pet peeves.
yeah.
There's one of those on Facebook. If somebody were looking for you, depending on what the first letter is, they may not get you.
Yeah.
But you're here now. Don't matter.
You're here now.
Doesn't matter how they spell it.
I mean, talk about the fight, man. What can we expect out of you this weekend?
You can expect a very much more confident Kaleb. The first time fighting bare knuckle, I'd never been hit bare fist before. I'd never been on a stage that big before. And so my first 2 rounds, I ain't gonna lie, Harris threw some bombs on me. I got cut open. That was the first time in 20. Well, this will be my 20th fight, but that was the first time I'd ever been split open, MMA or otherwise. So I had to learn how to adapt and calm down. So this time going in, I'm going to be a lot more prepared mentally on what to expect, how things are going to feel. Because I mean, everybody kept telling me, you're going to get cut, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get cut. I know, I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
But then you actually get cut, and now you're like, oh, okay, now I actually have to deal with this. And now that I know that, and I'm actually hoping that Cutman Vic is my cut man again, because he did an amazing job. And now that I know I ain't got to worry about a fight ending just because of a little scratch above my eye, I'm going to be able to go out there and go all out.
Plus, you have some, because it's your opponent's debut. And I know you've had one fight, but that makes, like you just said, it makes a difference. The first time it all goes down, you have to adjust to it. I mean, even if you've been in a fight before, it's different. Big stage, people watching. It's on YouTube. It's on Fight TV. It's all over the place. I think everything combined makes a debut even more so difficult in bare knuckle. That's just me.
Let me tag on to that statement, because I'll get your opinion on this, Kaleb. Is what was the bigger transition for you? Was it more, a lot of people, I've heard mixed responses on this. Is it the offense that's more like, is it more like hitting people with your fists that was the bigger difference, or is it getting hit with the bare knuckle? Like, what was the bigger transition for you?
Kind of both. Like, in the beginning, it was more of, you have to be prepared for the sting. I like to compare bare knuckle, like you're fighting with knives versus fighting with gloves. It's like you're fighting with hammers. But then in the later rounds, like, I actually remember fighting Harris and actually feeling, even with all the adrenaline running through me, that when I would land a left hook, I was actually landing it not where I wanted to, but on his orbital bone. And every time I would land it on that bone, I'd feel that sharp pain in my knuckle. And so, like, the longer you stay in the ring and the longer you draw the fight out, the more precise you have to be about where you're landing the punches. And I guess you can't just go out there barbaric style and just start swinging. If you do, I hope you have good health insurance, because you're going to be in the doctor's office fixing hands.
It's so much. It's like chess instead of checkers. That's how I explain it, because there's a lot more to it before you ever even get in there. Like your camp, you had to, okay, I can't throw like I would with an MMA glove. I got to dial it back. I got to pick my shots. It gives me a headache. I worry for you guys.
That was another thing about this go round that was different from my last camp. So my last camp, I came off of fighting the number one guy in the state of Mississippi, Jesse James Wallace. 30 days later, I'm fighting bare knuckles. So the first half of my camp was MMA. The last half, we're trying to figure out, well, I'm 30 days out. I can't really do a whole lot of sparring.
Right.
So we're just running a lot of mitt rounds. And we just weren't really prepared for how to prepare for a bare knuckle fight. And like with gloves, you can be willing to stand in the pocket and do a dog fight for a little bit longer than you can with bare knuckles. So, and that's kind of where, like, I'm not scared to stand toe to toe and just sit there and duke it out. Like, I'm not scared to do that at all.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to have longevity in this sport, I had to learn how to move my head more. So a lot of this camp was a lot more focused on head movements, slips, turns, learning how to land the shot off the move. And so I think that's something that's going to help play into this fight.
Interesting.
So now, is it safe to say that you've done that? Is this where you feel your feet are planted? This is the sport for you? I mean,
I'm willing. My goal in life is to fight. My goal in life is to live off of fighting. That is my dream. For the longest time, my dream was the UFC. Now there's Bellator, there's PFL, there's bare knuckle boxing. Originally, the original chance that I wanted was just to be able to say, I did it. I never want to be that guy looking back when he's 60 and saying, I wish I'd have done that. I want to be able to tell my kids, my grandkids, hey, your grandpa paid for his way through college by going and stepping in the ring and fighting with his bare fist.
Yeah.
And so if bare knuckle, when I go out there and knock this guy out, if bare knuckle decides to keep me on and gives me a contract, hey, that's where I'll build my name at. If not, I'm going to continue to fight MMA as well. And you know what? MMA promotions saying, hey, we have Kaleb Harris, former bare knuckle boxing fighter, fighting on our card. That's just going to make me sell more tickets, and that just builds my name. I'm about building my brand now.
I think no matter what happens at the end of the fight, the one thing for what it's worth is you fought on the biggest stage for this sport already. You've done that part. So now, I mean, your
Like
brand is just
God shined
what
down
you
on
do in
me.
the ring.
God shined down on me, and I actually got to be the unofficial co-main event for the Jason Knight Artem Lobov fight. Like I sat there that night and was told that we were the swing bout. That there was too many pay-per-view, even be on the pay-per-view. We might have to fight after Jason Knight. And so I'm kind of bummed. And Artem actually gave me some encouraging words when I was backstage with him and his back there in the same corner. And then Chris Levin goes out there and destroys that guy in like 20 seconds. They snatch me up. I think Nate Shook was the guy. He grabbed me by my shirt and said, "You're on," and like pushed me towards the stage. So I'm like, okay. And like, so I'm trying to warm up as I'm walking down the stage to get in the ring.
Right.
Wow.
Everything happens for a reason, though. You got placed there. You're fighting here. So it kind of seems like this is what's meant to happen for you, my man.
100%. Well, look, while we got you, we're kind of getting opinions of, especially the main event, Jim Ellers, Leonard Garcia. It's an interesting fight. We know that Jason Knight again was supposed to be the one in there against Garcia. He had to pull out. He had the rib injury, so forth. And now we're left with Jim Ellers, who just KO'd Elvin Brito on the last card in 45 seconds or 40 some seconds, something like that.
I watched that at the house. That was nasty.
That's very nasty. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, because Leonard Garcia, he's the UFC veteran. Jim Ellers, he's a UFC vet too. But, Leonard, he's been in this game for a long, long time. And I'm sure there's not a whole lot that surprises him. How do you see this fight going?
So, man, I actually and this is no disrespect to Ellers or Garcia. Growing up, as much as I've been in the sport, I did not watch this sport. So I actually can't ever remember watching Jim Ellers or Leonard Garcia ever fight in the UFC. So I don't know what their fighting styles are. But from the clips I've seen and the bare knuckle fights that I've seen, I know it's going to be a dog-out war. Like, I know more about Jason Knight and Chase Sherman because I watched them in local shows before they got to the big shows.
Yeah.
But
right.
As far as them two goes, man, I'm just hoping that I'm done with my fight and I've got a glass of scotch in my hand and I'm ready to just relax and watch them.
Well, heck, we'll talk about Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman, he's fighting Arnold Adams for the heavyweight title. Well, I mean, how do you see that going?
Arnold Adams is a heavy hitter. That's a big man. Like I've stood next to Chase Sherman and several years ago got to train with him down at Alan Belcher's for a little while. He probably actually doesn't even remember that. But I think as long as Chase sticks and moves, and I mean, as with any heavyweight, one shot's all it takes. But I think as long as Chase sticks and moves, I think he will pull it out. Like me personally, again, no disrespect to any of the fight. I thought that I had him 3-2 against Sam when they ruled it a draw. So if he wins, I'd like to see him fight Sam again because that was a really entertaining fight. But as far I'm going to be rooting for the Mississippi boy on that one. So I got Chase Sherman against Arnold Adams.
Me and Nick were also talking about that. We think that we kind of think whoever wins that, right? Did we agree on that, Nick? That we think Sam should be next. Sam should be next, regardless of who it is. Whoever wins that fight.
Right? No, I totally agree. I mean, he's been in 2 or 3 of the bare knuckles now.
He was in all.
Yeah. Well, then, I would definitely say that earns him a title shot.
What is he? He's 3-1-1 or 4-1-1? 3-1-1.
Yeah, that sounds right. 3-1-1. Yeah. Huh.
We're waiting for the Kaleb Harris title fight. We'll be here when that happens, bro.
Hey, I can't wait. That's why I was so glad when they decided to make a 165 division because I told the matchmakers and the local matchmaker Ricky Duran, who I fought for as an amateur, I fight at 55 in MMA. I'll fight anywhere from 55 all the way up to 75 as long as they'll put me on a card because I've done showed on proof. I sold 2.5 times as many tickets to this fight in Biloxi as I did to my last fight in Biloxi, and I've still got guys that are they were willing to buy pay-per-view. And now that they know it's free, I know I got at least 100 people that's done said they're buying the fights. And so when I fight, I bring a crowd and I come to fight. So with this 165 division, I'm looking to secure several wins and hopefully get to fight for one of them nice looking belts.
I was gonna say, I mean, does that feel like a sweet spot to you? That 165?
It does. Cutting to 55, dieting down, because I walk around at about 178, 180 if I'm eating bad.
Yeah.
So cutting down diet wise, I can make 65 no problem. It's pulling the last 10 pounds off to get to 55. That's when you start having to pull water weight off and go home after training for 3 hours and working 8 hours that day to sit in the sauna for another hour to get another 2 pounds off just so you can eat and drink a little bit. 65, I've had to cut for this fight, but I haven't had to kill myself for this fight. So
you're like, comfortable cutting.
55, I would not be talking to you guys right now because I wouldn't have the energy.
I wonder that because just, in MMA, it's been talked about for probably especially the last couple of years about, that same thing about how you got guys who are kind of right in that middle, right? They're not quite like they can fight at welterweight, right? They can fight at 175.
But they would be a small welterweight.
Right. They're a small welterweight, but then at the same time, 155 is too much. If
they ever make a 165 MMA division, I'm never going back to 55. Like it's just I don't see the point in cutting that much more weight when I feel comfortable at 65 and I still put on a good 10 to 15 pounds back on.
Yeah.
Now going to 170, I got a best friend, Dustin the Puma, that fights at 170 and walks around at about 190. So I'm staying away from the 170 division. I'm too long and lanky. I'd have to devote another 3 or 4 hours a day in the gym just to build up enough weight to hit 170.
Well, I'll tell you what I know is after watching your first fight, I'm definitely excited for your second fight.
Man, I appreciate that.
Because you show up to fight. That's one thing we know that's going to happen. You're going to show up and you're going to be there ready to roll.
That's my thing, man. I don't like the trash talk. I like I want this sport to be something that people look at with respect. So, the trash talk, and even though it's funny, like when Conor McGregor does it and stuff like that, at the end of the day, it's silly to me. Like, I'd rather us be respectful, show up, get out there, fight like dogs, and then, go have a beer afterwards. I mean,
and you and Harris are buddies now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've actually asked him a lot of questions about trying to get contracts with bare knuckle and, compared to what they're paying me and what the contracts are offering, what's a good deal. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get up together for this fight to get some training in, but I'm hoping to come down and do some cross training and him come up and do some cross training.
Well, we're pulling for you, buddy. We like it. We like, you have the right head on your shoulders. You have the right outlook, like no trash talk. It's hard to make a sport and then have everybody jump on board. So the angle you're taking is great. And I'm sure the fans appreciate it. The promoters, the media, we all appreciate it. You're a good egg.
I appreciate that, man.
I like that saying. I like that saying.
That is a good saying. Yeah, but like same thing, man. Like we're so glad that it's going to be on YouTube. Like I said, at first I thought it was crazy, but I'm so glad for you guys because it's going to put more eyeballs. Like like I was telling Harris, I think that it's going to bring in. Hopefully, it's going to bring in a whole new audience. Maybe people who don't normally watch bare knuckle. This is going to be their first introduction. Like you guys are going to be, I think, the introduction to a lot of people who maybe have never seen it before, especially since the entire show is free. So, best of luck to you, man. And, thank you so much for coming on. I know the time is crucial and how valuable that weight cutting time is, especially before Friday. So we appreciate it so much, man. And like I said, best of luck to you, sir. And everybody, Kaleb Harris, go follow him on his social media. Check him out.
I appreciate it, guys.
Have a good one, bud.
All right. And there he is, Mr. Kaleb Harris. Man, I tell you what, these guys coming on, and I mean that sincerely. These guys coming on before weight cut, I can't imagine, It's
I wouldn't talk to you. I'd be so mad. I'd be so angry and dehydrated. I wouldn't talk to you.
bro. I do the show sometimes. I'm hungry just from not eating dinner, and I'm already upset. I can't
Right.
imagine. You know what I
Hangry.
mean? I can't imagine. Um, so we're waiting on Josh Cologne. Hopefully he'll be in. Maybe next 5-10 minutes he'll come on, if not sooner than that. Um, yeah, man. Bare knuckle. I tell you what, we're. Oh, by the way, people who are listening, so this Saturday, tune in. We're gonna do a essentially, I don't know, live commentary. It's gonna be nothing. It's not gonna be super, crazy, nothing like that. We'll just kind of be hanging out, just kind of hanging out, watching the card. So not too structured. It won't be, just kind of hanging out and really just getting, the fans' feedback. Just kind of hanging out with you guys. That's really the intention. Um, we can discuss things during the card as it's actually happening. So maybe pull up the fight on one hand, pull us up on the other, and we'll have a good time. So don't forget, I'll put a link on the Facebook page, and then also too subscribe to our YouTube so you're already notified. Hit the bell icon. That way you don't have to worry about whether or not you missed a Facebook post or the Twitter post or the Reddit post or whatever. Just go ahead and subscribe. It makes it a whole lot easier. Just go ahead and do it. You know you want to.
I subscribed.
Just do it. Did you subscribe? You better be
Sure did.
subscribed.
I
There
sure
he is.
did.
Hey, we just got one subscriber, Harris Stevenson. We appreciate you so much, buddy.
Oh, there he is.
He just subscribed to the channel. So, guys, go check it out. Like I said, subscribe to the channel. It's super easy. It's just a click of a button, my man. Click of a button. It doesn't get much easier than that. Just doot doot. And yeah, so we appreciate you guys so much already. The guys, people who have been following us since essentially the beginning. We have not forgotten you. We will not forget you. So we really appreciate it. Everything you guys have been doing. Again, broken record. I say that a lot, don't I?
You know what though? We should add there will be that 1 week where where all content will halt for a week.
Yeah.
Forewarning. There
Yeah,
will be 1 week where we can't. There's going to be no content.
100%. So yeah. So guys, what Nick is saying. So we are overhauling the website. That's not the surprise. Just what's on the website is the big surprise. We're overhauling the website. Okay, so the current website that is up right now, it will go down for about a week. It's going to go down because we're going to be transitioning everything over, and it's technical and blah 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 blah. I could explain it all to you, but it'd be really boring.
I don't want to hear it either.
He doesn't want to hear it. So what we're going to do is shut down for about a week, give or take a couple days. That way we can get everything accustomed to the new site. And I'm telling you guys, you guys are going to get blown away, absolutely blown away. And I wish we could spill the beans now, but we can't. I really do. I wish we could just say it, but we want to surprise you guys. I mean, we're doing this for you guys. I mean, really, we started this thing about 10 months ago, and who knew?
I'm surprised it's happening. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see it. I didn't see it happening or coming to light for another. I'll be honest. I don't want to shit on what we're doing, but when this started in my mind, I figured like we were still another year out.
Well, and that's something we talk about, that how far ahead we were. I mean, my God, we've traveled internationally, through the website. We've been, I mean, there's no other way to say it. We've been blessed beyond means. My God, we've been to Arizona, California. We've been to Cancun,
Florida.
We've been to Tampa. We were just in Tampa for the Malinaji Lobov card.
We'll be in Atlantic City for celebrity boxing.
We'll be in Atlantic City for celebrity boxing. I mean, who knew? Who knew 10 months ago that I never had a freaking passport before we went to Cancun. I never had one.
No, I had to get one.
So who knew, man? I guess enough about us. We're kind of holding out. Just a couple more minutes. We're gonna see if Josh Cullen pops on. He is supposed to be our next guest. We will see. Perhaps he maybe he got busy. I don't know.
He may be tied up with some things.
He could be tied up. We will try to get that figured out. Just hang out with us just for a couple more minutes. But Nick, I tell you, man, I'm so much big stuff going on. It just sucks because we really can't say everything. So therefore, I feel very repetitive because there's not a whole lot we can say. So it almost
we could technically, I guess, but the
Oh.
the amount of people that know is the number is very small, and that's just because they had to be involved in the process one way or the other. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I
Guys,
want to. I want to tell. I want to put the new logo up too, but I haven't.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
I have been adding the distorted images and are getting slightly clearer.
Yeah.
You still can't see what it is, so I don't know, but we're getting there. Counting down.
We're getting there. We are getting
We're
there.
doing something.
What was I going to say? Oh, shout out to all of our sponsors too, man. StreamYard, we already shouted them out. And Still Nutrition. Go to And Still Nutrition. Promo code Combat Insiders. You get 15% off. So go.
That's a real code, not the ones he makes up.
That is it. Hey, I know I say it. Yeah.
Code.
That's a legit code. That's not one of the made up ones. That's real. So it's very real. AndStillNutrition.com for all your sports supplements needs. Check them out. LabQualityCBD.com. He's got a lot of great CBD supplements and vapes and stuff like that. So go check them out as well. And Roy Garcia Online, my man, our guy that's heading up our website development. Go check him out too. If you guys need website design, graphic design, I think he does logos too. He does social media stuff. He does a little bit of everything. Go check him out. RoyGarciaOnline.com. Just tell him we sent you. Tell him you're from Combat Insiders. Tell him you know me. Tell him I don't know. That way he knows where it came from. Guys, you know what? I think we're just going to go ahead and, I guess, close this show down. Unfortunately, we're waiting on Josh Cullen. And I don't think, what do you think, Nick? I don't think
I feel like
it's looking unlikely, perhaps.
I feel like he got sidetracked with stuff. Not intentional by any means, but
it happens.
It does happen.
We get it. It happens. Guys, on that note, once again, we thank you so much for tuning in. For the people who have, especially, like I said, been there from the beginning, we thank you so much. If you're new and you're not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button once again.
Totally forgot. Tomorrow the post goes up. We are giving away 5 pairs of tickets. So 10 tickets in total, but we're giving away as pairs for Celebrity Boxing 69, September 7th, Atlantic City. The post will go up to tomorrow. The contest is very simple. Like, you have to click buttons. That's it. It's very simple. The show's about a month out, so we're going to let the contest, I'll let it run for 3 weeks, and then I will pool 5 people, and everyone will get a pair of tickets.
100%. Well, we're going. So
that's all I know. We are going.
We can't wait. But guys, like I said, thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to go and end the show right here. For Nick Portella, I'm Josh Furs. We're Combat Insiders. And we are out, my friends.